and they said, give us a right-of-way on, this is the experimental range, so this is all state land. So state land, private land, BLM land that they don't want to go on. So they said, give us a right-of-way right along here so we can not get the feds involved. And guess what? They gave them that. They gave them that, but we believe they gave them that illegally, and we're in litigation right now, and we're waiting to hear the results of that lawsuit. There are going to be oral arguments in the middle of next month, and then the judge will make his decision, but we think we have a really good case that they did not follow the open meeting law, because they just sort of did this in a back room and added the tailing piles to, the tailing pipelines to a permit, another permit that was only for water lines, without doing a public hearing. So, so we're hoping to stop them there. Groundwater, I feel like I've been going on a long time, so I'm going to go just really brief and just say, water, terrible. You should be terrified. They're going to pump 2 to 4 billion gallons a year out of the aquifer that you guys use. So, I mean, it's a massive amount of water. It's enough on the upper end for 40,000 households at average use rates in Arizona. And they don't have to pay a penny for that water. So I'm going to come back to the district court finding that Dave was talking about. So we sued them back a number of years ago and won in district court because HudBay wanted to dump their tailings on the east side. They were going to start, because the real rich copper's on the east side of the Rosemont there. And so they were going to dump their tailings all over the National Forest land. And the National Forest Service gave them a permit to do this. So, you know, they were going to, basically they were going to bury the Rosemont Valley in tailings. And we sued them. And we won, and then in 2022, we won on appeal at the District Court of Appeals. So that is why they came up with this new crazy plan where they're starting over on the west side, and they bought this private land, and they're trying to use the right-of-way and get the, it's like they're having to go through all these crazy hoops because the court said you can't dump your tailings on the east side. Well, the problem is that they and their, I guess, can I call them cronies? I guess I'll call them cronies in government, have come up with this dastardly plan, which conservation has called the biggest giveaway of public land since the 1872 mining law. And what it would do would be to give any mining company in the entire country the right to take any public land, with a few exceptions, probably not national park, but basically any Forest Service land, any BLM land, probably Fish and Wildlife Service land, any land that they want, as long as they say this is necessary for our mine. So we're talking they can go back to dumping tailings on the Rosemont Valley. They can build roads anywhere they want to. They can build high-powered transmission lines anywhere they want to. And this law would do this for any mine in the entire country. It's absolutely terrifying if this thing gets passed. And and Cinema is a co-sponsor. So it's called the Mining Regulatory Clarity Act. There's a House version which just passed the House May 8th. We are hopeful that we can stop it in the Senate, but again, this takes folks like you, and if you follow us and stay on our website, and I have a sign-up sheet here, so it's, if you want to help, if you're not already on our mailing list, get your name on our mailing list, and we will make sure you get the information and give you exactly what you need in terms of who to contact, when to contact, what to say, so that you can help prevent this terrifying law from becoming reality. And just the last thing on a hopeful note, we're not alone. There's a whole lot of people fighting and groups fighting with us, like the Tohono O'odham Nation, Pima County, City of Tucson, and lots of collaborating conservation organizations. And as I was saying, there's like all these little groups of neighbors, citizens have been sort of forming themselves, coalescing out in the communities. And we're trying to give them all the support that we can do, providing them with information and analysis that they can use to talk to their neighbors. And let's see. So everybody says, what can each of us do? I've covered this one extensively. Reach out to your neighbors and say, have you heard about this? I went to this fascinating discussion by this overly long-winded guy on Wednesday, and I learned all this stuff, and you know, what HudBay is telling you is the truth. We're trying to put pressure on the governor and the state land department still, so that they don't go, so that they stop that right of way. I mean, we're hoping to just win it in the court case, but they could always go back and re-give the right of way. You know, this time following maybe the correct procedure. So we really need to keep pressure on there, fight the Mining Regulatory Act, and then help support us. In the last year or so, we've had to reach really deep in our pockets. We have some good supporters, but we're really just a little neighborhood group supported by folks like you, and we live on donations. And in this last year, we've had to pay for a hydrologist and a mining engineer to draft professional technical comments on the aquifer protection permit, which is right now in the process of Arizona Department of Environmental Quality is considering our comments, Pima County comments, and other comments right now before releasing that final permit. There's an air quality permit coming up that we're going to have to analyze and comment on. There's the economics report, which was not cheap, and there's litigation, which is less not cheap, or not cheap anyway. So you know, and I think that's it for the talk. I'll gladly entertain questions.
What's the name of the mine across 19 Arsto or whatever?
Oh, yeah, Sarco.
Yes. I would.
Use the microphone, please.
The mine that's across 19, if none of you, or if any of you have not been to look at it, I highly recommend that you take the tour. They have a tour that is wonderful, and you will see the damage that the mine can do. They have, like he said, a pit that's like mile deep, and they have these trucks, huge trucks that move the material. And as far as new workers, I think there will be having self-run or computer-run trucks as opposed to having people come in and take those jobs. So if you haven't been to the mine and taken a tour, I highly recommend. You'll see how bad it could be.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. The 8-year-old boy in me loves looking at mining activity. You know, which a hepatoid drone truck, vroom vroom. It seems really cool if you don't think about the outcomes. Yes, sir.
What is the Rosemont activities? There's a sign that.
Can you use the microphone, please?
Or I can repeat as well.
There's a sign as you go through Box Canyon, and once the road turns into pavement, it says the Rosemont Mine Activity Center. And I don't know what the Activity Center is about.
Honestly, I don't know. I've been there several times and I didn't see the sign saying exactly that. I just assumed, I think those are like administrative buildings, but does anyone else know for sure? I'm sorry, I don't know for sure. I guess I haven't seen that particular sign, but
Yeah, it's just as you get past Fox Canyon and the road turns to pavement, it's going to be on the right side, south side of the road. And the
Well, a lot of that land right up there, you know, they've got at least one road closed off, and a lot of that land, which was ranches and potential home sites, has been purchased by them as part of switching their focus over to the west side. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh, yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
have two questions. Can we get the names of our supposed representatives in the House and the Senate that voted for this and pushing this Clarity Act? Number one. Number two, are you doing anything about the Freedom of Information Act to follow the money, to see where the money from this company is going, or politicians it's going to?
I guess I just say I don't think we felt the need to invest a lot of work in following the money because it's so obvious. You know, it's just obvious by the positions that people are taking. We do, if you sign up, you will get you'll get mailings that will say, here are the people we need to put pressure on right now, please contact them right now, and we'll provide all that information that you need to know who your particular representative is that you need to write to, and we'll give you words that you can use if you don't feel 100% comfortable in generating your own. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, question. What was the name of I think you called them the economic expert or study group or consultants? What was the name of that group?
Yeah, the group is called Power Consulting.
And they're from?
They're from the Boulder area.
Are they the ones that analyzed the economics in the study to determine the break-even price was $3.75?
Well, they didn't have to do any analysis. HudBay has it right in their plans that that's their break-even point.
Can you tell me what page that's on? I read the study, and it does not say that anywhere in the study. It says their break-even production cost is $1.47 a pound. And actually it doesn't call it break-even, the production cost, which I would interpret as the break-even price. The price of $3.75, that was the price that was chosen by them to analyze the economics of the project. So that was the base price. They also analyzed it at different prices, what's called the sensitivity analysis. In that sensitivity analysis, the conclusion was that the project the economics were robust down to $3.25 a pound. So, you know, I know your job is to just do whatever you can to reduce HudBay's credibility, but you ought to be given accurate information, please.
Well, I guess I'll just say that, I have to trust the economists on that. And even if the number isn't quite right, the general point is entirely valid, which is that mines can only function when they're above the break-even, when the copper is above the break-even point, whatever that might be, and that there's been a huge amount of variability in copper prices, with copper prices in $22 being below $2, up to a high, like right now I think we're in the 5s. So the bottom line is, though, it really doesn't matter if that price, that break-even point is exactly right or not. I mean, I trust the economists, but even if it's not, it doesn't really matter. The point is that in order for them to provide steady employment over a 20 or 40-year span of the mine, they've got to be above break-even point, whatever that is. And the point is that there's extreme variability historically in copper prices.
And the break-even point, in my opinion, as a professional mining engineer, is $1.47 a pound. That's what is their average production cost over the life of the mine. Now, if you go back and look at your chart, the copper price has not been that low
close to that this century. So I think they've got a good project, in my opinion.
Good project.
Not a century. because
This
That graph was
station,
from
if you go back to the
1990.
year 2000 and come forward, copper price has not been below, not even approached $1.47.
Today it's $4.83 a pound.
Exactly.
24, May 29th.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Okay.
Exactly.
anyway, I think
And that's-
that we're,
that's
I
not
think,
far off.
I think we're belaboring a rather niggling point at this point.
Well-
The bottom line that I would convey and our economists would convey to you guys is that the cumulative negative effects on the economy are going to be way more than whatever incremental benefit to the economy comes from the mine.
But my point is, you should be giving accurate information, especially when you're quoting the proponent for the project.
I think to me, I just don't want to see open pit mines and have to deal with results ramifications.
You need to stand up.
Okay, she was just saying she is more concerned with not wanting to have big mines nearby and the health ramifications.
Yeah.
My concern,
Get on the mic, people take turns. Tell me polite.
You mentioned the city of Tucson does not support this mining initiative. Has the municipalities of Vail or Sarita Township expressed any public position on this mining initiative?
I don't know where they are right now.
Or any local developers?
Great question, and I mean, that's something we've wondered, why the developers aren't pushing more strongly against the mine because of the potential negative effects on housing values, but, you know.
Can I just add a comment? And I want to show you a couple pictures later, but as far as Robeson is concerned, I will admit to you that they're sitting in the weeds just like they did with the Vulcan project. If it hadn't been for some very dedicated people who got involved with the concerned citizens of Sarita and educated people relative to what Vulcan was trying to do, we would have Vulcan there. The company has remained totally non-committal to Vulcan. They've remained totally non-committal to HudBay, and they've always been non-committal for 14 years on Rosemont. Okay?
Just a couple of brief questions. The first one is, I know for a fact that Patagonia area that you referred to a while ago, they're actually, if you join that area down there, and also the Arizona Trail, they have letters already made up, and all you have to do is put your name and email on it. You do have to supply your email so they know where it's coming from, and you can send them directly to your reps. And you can find your reps online if you need to. The other thing was, what the gentleman brought up the price, I don't want to get into that, but if you go back to that slide, it very distinctly said if the price reached that 375. So it was pretty clear if you read it. So I don't think that's a problem. And as far as the price of copper, I could care less if it's $20 a pound. I don't want to see these mountains destroyed. I live to the west right now from where I live, and all I see is stuff that they went through all the rituals, you know, we're going to redo these mine deals, they're going to look just like they did years from now. No way, no way. They look like they planted weeds or something up there. So that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
And thank you for your presentation very much.
I just have some comments to make. I came out here in 1963 to work in the mining industry. And I've been working in the mining industry up until COVID, when they shut the mines down for any visitors and consultants. When they came to Arizona, they were known for the 5 C's. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Copper, cattle,
Cotton.
citrus, cotton, and climate. And that's where all of you came for, is for the climate. When I first came here, there were 1.5 million people in the whole state. Now there's 7.5 million people. Why do you suppose they came? Many of these people were, many of the fellows that were here after World War II, they liked it. They came back, a lot of military guys, also a lot of mining guys. Then they came to Globe, Miami, Frenzy, Tucson. Tucson's the best mining camp in the world. Best mining camp in the world, and I've been all around them. And there's copper here, the society needs it. And the city of Tucson, when I first came, was 60,000 people. You know what it is now? Over 1 million, as I understand it. You all came here because you like the economy, but you came to the best mining camp in the world. And so there needs to be a little acceptance. We need copper. We want to bring China and India into the 21st century. They got to have copper. Copper used to be the controlling factor in the investment industry. You fellows remember some of that? If the copper industry was good, the economy was good. So I got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, but I guess that's probably said enough.
Over here.
Hi, been a resident of Quail Creek here for 6 years, and during that time, I got to be very good friends with Steve Brown, who's vice president of your group, and he was born in 1947 up at Santa Rita Ranch, 40,000 acres of cattle and horses. And he's written about this issue. This issue is, in my opinion, 10 times more significant than the asphalt issue in here. And the reason why I say that is because I've looked at the facts. And the facts can be found on Pima County, Pima maps. If you haven't ever been to that website, Pima County, Pima maps, you will be able to observe what exactly HudBay is buying up and how they're expanding and where they're threatening and where they want water and pipes, all the way down now to Old Nogales Highway. And you can see on that site the properties that they are buying up. And that's not rumor, that's reality, okay? Try to look that site up.
Over here. Hello?
Well, my concern is,
Wait.
Over here, please. Thank you. I think we need to keep in mind that unless there is a change in technology for the way we mine for critical minerals of any type, or unless we find whole new substitutes for copper, cobalt, lithium, whatever you have, the price will go up. And if the price goes up, so do the tailing dust, and so does the unwarranted use of groundwater and the more pollution in the groundwater. You know, without a change in technology, we can't win this fight unless you shut the mines down.
yeah, my concern is that if they do an open pit mine, it'll look like Morenci and Clifton, that area. You know, that's a major concern.
I have a question, if you could clarify, I don't know if we can get get back to the slide, but I was having trouble following the map. And if you could point out maybe some landmarks that we all know, like, you know, Wrightson Peak or Hopkins, so we can orient ourselves to, from where we are, not just what we're going to see, but where this activity is taking place. Because my cognitive map of this valley is not that good.
Go to Box Canyon. Box Canyon, Sierra. He had showed all the guys.
If I'm driving up to the Dare Canyon to go to Santa Rita Lodge, where am I?
This line that you see that starts over in Quail Creek, that's a line that starts right here at the intersection of Quail Creek Boulevard and Fair Range Loop. Goes directly across, and you'll notice, if you can get rid of that guy.
Remind me tomorrow. Forgive me for not using a microphone since it's hard for me to get there, but just as a reference, is it not that white horseshoe looking thing in the range
That's the
that we're
limestone
looking at, right? Yeah, okay.
That's the line.
Everybody has an idea.
Okay, so you see this line that goes directly across,
The yellow line?
or the yellow line?
That's the way it works.
That says 7.9 miles.
Yeah.
That's from the intersection to the beginning of the tailings. You notice it's right at the top, almost at the top of the F. That's where all the tailings will go, plus they'll go up toward Tucson. If you go out Robson Ranch Road, take a right.
Please use the mic, sir.
If you go out Robson Ranch Road, okay, to the new section that they're building, okay, you make a right on Sorbonne Road. Go right to the very end. And this is a picture I took on my phone from the backyard of one of the houses that's being built.
But where's that on
Okay.
that map?
That would be,
What am I looking at?
you see the white area, you see the white area, ma'am? You see the white area up here,
Yep,
just to the right of the F?
yep,
That's the limestone line,
okay.
okay? So, if you say, okay, this is the limestone line, then all of the activity, the line, will be built in this area. So it'll be right in their backyard.
Mining. So you're looking, I don't know where you're looking. It would be this way. That way. You're looking directly east. That's what you would see.
Now, the other part of that is, you see Santa Rita Road that runs down on a diagonal? That's where the 100 trucks a day would travel with the ore concentrate.
Look, you see dust clouds already
Yeah.
going back and forth now.
Yeah, it's all white. So that's where the trucks would go, down to Santa Rita Road, then, as Rob said, probably across to 19.
Above that area is a landmark called Gunsight Pass. And it's a vertical rock formation. And as you follow that past what I call Indian Head, over to Box Canyon, between that area is where HudBay is going on both sides.
Right.
And those landmarks are visible to anybody in Quail Creek.
Yeah, and so that's where you're going to see the bridge line disappear. Because there are going to be 2 mines on this side, 2 mines in here. They'll blast through the bridge line to put
landmark out there, and it's called Quail Creek. And that's what Steve told me it was called.
That's where they found the artifacts and stuff?
No, that's
60s?
for Honorably Butte.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's right along that road there. And so,
You know, road, and you look to your right, or no, you look straight ahead, you will see what looks like a profile of an Indian.
an Indian nose.
Yeah, Indian nose, chin, whatever, and I figured that's probably.
Well,
It's a landmark.
and needless to say, the two mines, plus the third that will be blasted on the ridge line, will all be visible from Quail Creek. They'll all
Just to keep us oriented, this is again that Santa Rita Road that was coming northwest from the mine site up here, and then now we're looking at a continuation of and where the trucks presumably would go west on Santa Rita Road.
If you haven't ever had the chance to go over Box Canyon, it's a dirt road, but that takes you right into this area, and it comes out of the Derrick Canyon Road, and so we know that. But if you go Box Canyon, you need a four-wheel drive. Not everybody takes it on a four-wheel drive, but it will take you right to what you see happening here on the east side.
If I can ask a question. Rob mentioned that, they're, for the first 4 or 5 years, that they're planning to truck their ore concentrate to Mexico and then eventually probably to China for smelting. That's exactly what Augusta Resources was going to do. They were going to truck it. And when HudBay first started, seems to me they were saying, as you mentioned, they were going to do everything on site. They were going to finish the copper, and then they were going to ship it to the U.S. market. And the problem is their pocketbooks got a little bit tight. So what they're doing basically is making a change to their mining plan of operation because they don't have the money to do what they would like to do in the first place. And my concern, quite frankly, is, in fact, their CEO has already made a comment on a call to investors that they're looking for another partner. Ideally, what they would like to do is to sell to a conglomerate. And then they would have enough money to do what they wanted to do in the first place. So I'm very, very concerned about their financial stability. And I think there's every reason to believe that if they were allowed to start mining, that they could very easily all of a sudden end up closing up. I don't know how they could be competitive with Freeport-McMoran, who does all their smelting on site at their Twin Buttes location, how they can be competitive with companies like Freeport-McMoran.
Those are all great points, Dave.
I have a couple others.
Just let me make one follow-up on that. There's actually 2 reasons why they have put off doing the refining on site. And one of them probably is financial because they have to build a plan, and they've talked about using their first 4 years of production where they're only going to do copper concentrate and they're going to ship it overseas. So the idea would be that they would generate the money in doing that, that maybe then they could do the smelting on site. And they do have in their plan, it does say they're going to do some smelting on site. But the other big reason for the change is because of that lawsuit we ultimately won that was confirmed in 2022, that because they can't dump the tailings over there all over the Forest Service land on the east side, they can't do the full tilt smelting. So, they're crossing their fingers that mining law change goes through. So that would change the picture for them substantially. Sorry, go on.
Okay, just a couple of things. Maybe from an accounting standpoint, the way to explain the difference between the 375 and what the gentleman called manufacturing cost, because manufacturing cost typically is only the direct cost of the trucks and the shovels and so forth, the direct cost. That does not include all of their other indirect costs, which are probably marketing, human resources, lobbying, sales, and many other administrative costs that could make up some of that difference between the 175 and the 375. So you have to include all of those costs when you're looking at a break-even point.
More than just production.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
or manufacturing, isn't it called?
I am a biologist. I am not a mining engineer or economist.
Yeah. Direct cost is an accounting term. The other thing is, they talk about more jobs in the area. It seems to me like any place I go, like McDonald's or Safeway, Fry's, businesses in town, the hospitals, they don't have enough workers. So I'm not sure that we even need any more jobs around here. We need skilled people that can, or even any kind of people that can do the jobs that we have already available here. So that would be my other point.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
One thing that we've talked a lot about the beauty here in the Santa Cruz Valley, and there's no question about it. On the